Come on, Mitchell. You know me better than that.
What's that?
Come on. Obviously, something like this, I'm going to come prepared, don't you think? Bring the music down. Bring the music down. Bring the music down.
Yeah.
Interrupting Maddie.
I literally haven't even introduced the show, but go ahead.
That's fine. We just need to set the tone. So
Okay.
just play this one instead, obviously.
Don't ruin this episode.
No, come on. In fairness, this music does make me feel very, very happy.
It's a good tune.
Even a bad movie like The Crystal Skull can't ruin this theme song. Oh, all right. We are episode 64. This is Get Into Gate, the full Get Into Gate crew talking Stargate SG-1. My name is Mitch. Over there with the new music, Maddie.
Hello.
And we got Brendan and Rhys. What's doing?
Hello.
Oh, g'day, mate.
Look, at the back of our last podcast, we said that, I brought up the Indiana Jones reference. I was kind of hoping that that would sort of be where it ended, because that's not a good memory. That movie is 10 years old now, and the further it gets away from us,
really?
the better. Yeah.
Right.
Almost exactly like it was about there this time, I think April or May, maybe, in 2008.
Far out.
Yeah, I really drank the Kool-Aid on that when it first came out, because it was Indiana Jones, and I just wanted to love it. I started working for a radio station and reviewing movies, and I'm like, it's Indiana Jones. I think I have to love it.
No, it's not the first horrible movie you've defended. So.
No,
Didn't you
but
give Mamma Mia 4 out of
first.
5 stars?
What's
Mamma
that?
Mia.
Mamma Mia,
Mia.
3.5.
No,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was 4.
No, it
Pretty
wasn't.
sure it was
wasn't.
4, wasn't it?
Okay, mate, that's burned into my memory, all right? I paid for that shit. But I went to a screening, everyone was up and dancing, and I'm like, I don't know these songs, I don't get what's going on. Why is James Bond singing?
Oh,
But
mate,
I got sucked into the atmosphere.
I know the songs. I'm not watching the movie, though. Like,
No, I
jeez.
know. Should we all go to the sequel, though, as a
Oh,
little
mate,
side
if you
chat,
want to see
obviously?
a good video of Abba, you should Google Abba boyz. There's a video of me and Rhys dancing.
Oh, jeez.
A little bit drunk.
Half naked.
I was about to say, and you give me shit about my Spice Girls one, but I did that Stone Cold Sober. So,
Yeah.
okay, fair enough.
Yeah, just tell people you were drunk.
Yeah, we were shirtless.
I was working and driving at the time. So probably
It was
shouldn't say
EDM. I had a breakfast whiskey.
that. Yeah. I can see the statue of Mitch's dad, like out the front of the stadium. It's weird.
Look, we will find more time to talk about more ABBA a little bit later on the show. Right now, though,
Oh, come on. Now.
give the people what they want. Let's talk about Crystal Skull. Let's see what the DVD has in store for us. The synopsis reads: Daniel finds a glowing crystal skull identical to the one first discovered by his grandfather decades before. When Daniel stares into the skull's eyes, a mysterious force makes him disappear. Now SG-1 must find Daniel's grandfather to unlock the mystery of the skull and bring Daniel back.
Surprise! Daniel's got a granddad.
Why have you never mentioned that?
Or back when he was going crazy in, was it Legacy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, Daniel doesn't have a history of mental illness.
In the family.
Next minute, granddad's in a mental institution. Granted, not crazy, but
Yeah.
they thought he was, so...
Might as well.
He checked
Yeah.
himself in.
Yeah.
Well, I love the start of this episode because the map goes through the Stargate and it's kind of like a drone shot, zooms up to a 1,000-meter high pyramid. Now, just to put that into some perspective, 1,000 meters, and
It's 1 kilometre.
1 kilometre.
It's 1 kilometer.
That-
For all those
for
Star Trek
perspective.
fans out there, that's the same size as the ball cube.
That's one.
That's pretty good.
It's worth it.
So, some perspective here. I am surprised that Daniel didn't say how tall the Great Pyramid of Giza was, to compare. So I went and did some homework.
What do you got for us?
So the Great Pyramid. Well, I'm going to start with home for us in Australia. The Sydney Harbour Bridge is 134 metres high.
Oh, we're doing this, are we? Yep.
The Great Pyramid of Giza is 139.
Is that all?
That's it. So
So it's 10 of those.
obviously you don't want me to read a lot more. So I'm going to skip through. The
You got-
Empire State
You've
Building.
gone the wrong order, mate. What else
Yeah.
is boring?
The Empire State Building is 443.
Yep.
The One World Trade Center 546 to the tip. So
Just the tip.
just the tip.
Just the tip.
I'm
And
wondering where
the tallest building ever created by human, which is what is it in the Dubai Tower, Burj
Q1 at
Khalifa.
Gold Coast, mate.
Burj Khalifa. Oh,
about-
the Q1's 322.
What about the Gherkin in London?
Is that the penis one?
Yeah.
Don't know.
What?
I got the
shard?
the Petronas Towers from Hong Kong
I
from
think it's
Entrapment.
from Harry Potter there for a second.
From Entrapment. It's called Entrapment. 451. Anyway, the Dubai Tower, 830 meters to the tip. So this thing
That is ridiculous.
Ginormous.
Plus, it
pyramid.
obviously flares out a little more. It's not just a tiny little tower. It's
So when they're running along that bridge, it seemed to be like halfway through that pyramid.
Halfway up.
So that's like 500 meters.
serious
least.
cardio.
And they sort of described it as being like the cavern inside as being big enough to house every pyramid on Earth inside it, like with room to spare.
Yeah, on Earth. That's a lot of. There are a lot of pyramids.
Yeah.
It was a Mayan one.
It'd have to be at least 2 kilometers wide at the base then.
I don't know maths.
Hey, mate, not everyone's base is thicker than the tip, all right?
Well, yeah, I mean, if it's not a pyramid, it's just a tower then.
It was a penis joke.
No, we got it.
We introduced last week, I've got the Stargate SG-1 illustrated companion for seasons 3 and 4. Turns out this the whole Crystal Skull idea actually originated from Michael Shanks. He'd been working for a while trying to write a script about a crystal skull and just couldn't quite get there. So he palmed off the idea to Jared Paul and Michael Greenberg.
Nice.
He says...
Cool.
It's gonna. I don't mind that in a way because they say like to start writing, write what you know.
Yeah.
But in a way, he's writing as if he is Daniel Jackson. He's writing an episode about pyramids and shit. Like he hasn't sort of.
Well, he wants a Daniel Jackson episode.
Well, then,
Yeah. He's
Smart
got
man.
he's got a baby at home. He wants to get out of the house.
Yeah.
He went up to the EPs. He's like, "You've seen what happens when you don't give me a part. I don't give a shit. Okay,
Yeah.
give me something meaty to chew on. Okay, I'll write my own goddamn episode."
Based on an idea broached by executive producer Michael Greenberg and his godson, Jared Paul, Michael Shanks is thrilled to have been given the opportunity to input some writing ideas. Quote, I don't know how to read things. I'd been in the process of trying to write a Stargate script based on a piece of the mythology about a crystal skull, he recalls. The idea had been planted when the actor was given a book full of mysteries of South America by one of the generator operators at the Bridge Studios in Vancouver.
Janitor?
The book was so incredible, expounds Shanks, because of what it does is point out the inconsistencies of modern archaeological known facts with actual unexplained discoveries and phenomena. Apparently these finds are not reported in mainstream venues because they go against contemporary archaeological beliefs and would therefore rock the boat and ask questions that we can't answer at this time.
Well, apparently the whole crystal skull thing was baloney anyway. Like most of
My
them were
baloney has a first name. Sorry.
penis.
Crystal skull?
Apparently most of them were created in like the 1800s in Germany.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what old mate told us, didn't he?
Who?
The grandfather. No, sorry, the
That
scientist.
shit scientist.
Oh,
Yeah, okay, look,
man.
I felt a little sorry for him. What's his name?
Nah, he's useless.
Rothman.
How did he get a job? Like,
No, but, like-
surely there's someone between him and Daniel Jackson.
But like when he was first introduced on the team, he was inept compared to Daniel Jackson. But I'm like, clearly he's got like credentials of some This episode, he wouldn't be qualified to mop the floor there.
You got to
And
remember,
I'm like, why? Why? He could have just not known the answer rather than be like,
You
"What do
gotta-
you think this is? Hot dog? What?" I felt so. I
They're
honestly
like,
felt
don't
so
look at
sorry
its
for him.
eyes, and
You
it
gotta
just
remember,
cuts
though,
back to him
this is-
Like I feel
staring.
for the actor who's read the script. I'm like, I guess I'm never coming back.
I was in a dream sequence.
Yeah,
and
that's
now
what
I'm
I'm
in
gonna say.
this.
This is his first. This is his first real world appearance. The first episode he was in was Forever in a Day, where it's all happening in Daniel's heads. This is the first time he's actually interacting with people in the real Stargate world, and he's just an absolute dickhead. But I did love Sila's just little sort of burn on him.
Yeah.
Teleportation device? What do you think? I think you're gonna get fired.
So matter of fact.
They make him
I think
more
you're
like
gonna get
stuffed up and like just
Yeah.
sounding nerdy. He's like, I'm gonna give him.
Yeah, what's with that? And he was sniffing the
Allergies.
the allergy stuff. Put it in his nose and sniffed it. I'm like, what's the point? Is this to make him like sweaty nerd?
Yeah, because has it been established yet, or is it in his next episode where they say he was like a decathlon runner or
Yeah,
something
that was
like
in
that?
that was in
Oh, really?
that was in the first
That was
one.
in Forever in a Day. Yeah, so it's like
Because
he's an
he's,
athlete.
Yeah.
Because O'Neill's saying he's got 2 left feet. He's like, yeah, he was a decathlon runner. Oh, I don't like him.
Crazy.
Yeah, I do. I understand what Mitch is saying. I feel sorry for him because he's an archaeologist. So it's like, what do you know about this? Well, most of them were defunct. Like, if it's going to be something to transport you, use a scientist. Don't try and give don't get an archaeologist to waste 12 hours on it when he's already said he doesn't know.
Well, yeah, I think the reason was because Carter was out of commission.
Yeah, so
She
they
was-
don't
she
have
was- She was still recovering.
base scientists when Carter's
Yeah,
off world. Like,
surely.
come on.
Well, I guess normally it'd be.
I mean, we do later.
It'd be Carter and Daniel would normally solve that in about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, Daniel's in a different dimension, and Carter's, in the infirmary. So I guess they're like, oh, Rothman, that's Daniel's research assistant or whatever from back in the day. He'll be a free thinker like Daniel is.
Yeah.
Not so much.
Yeah, wouldn't he learn something from Daniel though?
Well, and the fact that he's now working at Stargate Command and he knows that like aliens and spaceships and shit are real.
In other
Yeah.
dimensions.
They're literally standing there going, "No, we saw him look into this. We saw the force field, and we saw him disappear."
But
Yeah.
Nah,
While they were
nah,
on a
you're
different
crazy.
planet.
yeah, that was
Yeah.
stupid. He shouldn't.
Did you look
Don't be that
behind the
skeptical.
pedestal? Was he hiding there?
Someone's probably playing a prank on you.
Dr. Carter, the simplest answer is most often the correct one. It's like, no, I don't know. I felt a little for him, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, it's clearly his own fault based on the way he was set up in Forever and a Day.
You're not
but,
earning your $200,000 a year, mate.
so, like, we even said that the idea of them, were debunked and all that sort of stuff. Was that the general, like, scientific consensus, like the theory in a way, like, oh, this cool crystal skull, and look at it, created obviously with technology above what they had at the time or whatever.
From what I understand, in that era, the when they were going through the Mayan temples in Egypt and that kind of archaeological finding was just in the mainstream popularity. So then people from South America and everywhere else got these crystal skulls made, put them in tombs, and made false claims that they were from the Mayan
And like
Right.
transporting sort of interdimensional.
Oh
like,
yeah,
things that
because
make
it's kind of like that South American. I don't want to say hoodoo or whatever, but
Mythology.
yeah, all that.
yeah.
Like
I only asked because, like, again, I haven't watched the
There's a
Crystal
supernatural
Skull
feel to
Indiana
it.
Jones movie for 10 years, and this episode for maybe obviously longer because I hear Crystal Skull and everything they said about it. I'm like, oh, bad taste.
yeah,
but
I think
now
they
I
talk
feel better about
They
it.
talk about aliens and they talk about
Yeah, but the way that they
supernatural stuff.
describe it as being like, it's of alien, it's the Mayan, it's if you stare into it, it is the pathway to another dimension where you can see aliens. I'm like, that's exactly what that fucking thing was in Indiana Jones. So
I think
is
you
that the
find it's giant aliens, Mitch.
Now we must wait for the giant aliens.
That just has a nice ring to it.
But only I said because this episode obviously came out in 2000.
Yeah.
Crystal Skull probably been put together in 2005 to 2006 as a writing thing. It came out in 2008. That was a George Lucas story. I mean, that's what I was wondering. Is that just the general mythology behind those crystal skulls, or did George Lucas watch Stargate and go, I'm gonna fucking steal this and put it into my Indiana
it's
Jones
funny you
movie?
say that. Is so Brad Wright wrote the teleplay, but the story came from Jonathan Glasner and his godson Jared Paul. Jared Paul actually goes on to be a bit of a Hollywood writer. He actually wrote Yes Man with Jim Carrey.
Nice.
And a few other bits and pieces. He wrote Message in a Bottle as well from Stargate.
That's it,
Um,
the bottle.
And then he's gone on just recently. He created the Rob Lowe show, The Grinder.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Comedy. Yeah. So that's Jared Paul. So yeah, it's entirely possible. Like he could have been rolling in the same circles of writers and something like that, and it sort of trickled down to old George. And...
Yeah. Wish that it hadn't, but
Did you notice that when they went into this pyramid, there was the theme music from Torment of Tantalus?
Yeah.
So I'm going, are these guys... What did you think about that, Rhys?
Funny, because I've got a note here where it said this planet is Nick Ballard's Torment of Tantalus. Because
right.
it was like as he said at the end, this is my life's work, Daniel. And he was willing to stay there forever and give his life to it, just like Daniel was in Torment of Tantalus.
Yeah.
He's like, nah, leave me here, I'm done.
I almost
that's
thought
cool.
maybe if you picked up on that music cue, you might have thought that the giant aliens
Yeah.
were going to be like one of the fifth race or something like that, because they had that
The
sort
four great races.
of, one of the great races, and just because of the music and how revered they seem to make them. I
Yeah.
guess when a giant alien,
was that music used in the Fifth Race episode when he found the Asgard, when he got transported to their world? That's what it was. When I heard that music when they revealed the Crystal Skull, and they used it a bunch of times in the opening.
Yeah.
Yeah, that it honestly took me back to that episode. So when you said Torment, I'm like, oh, I had no memory of it being in that episode, but it makes sense. Yeah, it's like a real wondrous, Like it's got that, like the Nox.
Yeah,
it's in the
like
Nox
knowledge
realm.
bomb, profound
That sort of
kind of soundtrack.
music theme. Yeah, it's cool. Giant aliens, though. Yeah, I guess like they appear as
Giant
like
mist aliens.
they look
Robert
like
Cooper again.
Yeah.
They're aliens, right? But they're giant.
They're
They're
giant.
big. They're big aliens.
They're
Made of
mist.
smoke.
They're made of mist.
And they speak
I
Native
watched the
American.
movie The Mist.
Came up with this great idea. All right, go with it. Go with me.
Listen to me now.
And what
Don't shut it down immediately.
Big aliens, like great big, like giant aliens.
Yeah, and because they're big, we're gonna get Teal'c to voice them.
What's your name?
We are enemies of the ghoul.
The next minute, you can speak English.
We're travelers. We come in search of friendship. We'd like to exchange our knowledge and culture.
Feast on me. Cool.
it's like the
I
idea.
didn't realize it was Chris Judge.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
Chris Judge.
I didn't until the end actually. Yeah, the credits. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, when he was talking, I was like, oh, I wonder who's voicing this, and I made sure to look on the credits. I'm like, there you go.
So the idea of that episode, that line, that exchange between Daniel and Mist Alien happening in 2018. He's like, we would like to share our culture. And then all of a sudden the alien would be like, Donald Trump and the Kardashians? No thanks.
thanks.
Yeah, we'll
We've got
move on.
MTV, thanks.
I do find it's a bit rough though. It's like obviously Michael Shanks was the first one to be able to like voice another character in Thor, and Thor has already come back again and again and again. So obviously Chris Judge is like, oh, I could do it a little bit extra paycheck,
Yeah.
you know. So he's like, oh, I'll voice that Unas. Died at the end of the episode. I'll voice Quetzalcoatl, and
we never saw him again.
And it's like, come
Which
on,
is crap
man.
because you go, Nicholas Ballard stayed there, and he goes, "You'll come and visit," or whatever he said,
yeah,
and we never did.
no.
I'm like, why wouldn't you go back and go, "What's up"?
And I mean, the series lasts till like we're in season 3 now, lasts till season 10. Nick Ballard wasn't going to last that long.
No.
He's, you know.
I still feel though this could have been another idea instead of Stargate Origins. Like we've said that probably 3 times this season, where they've had like interesting threads.
Mate,
Yeah.
message in a bottle would have been better. You know what I mean? Like, pick an
Yeah.
episode.
And you're talking about the Kevin Costner
Mate.
movie, not even Stargate.
First
Waterworld.
commandment. Like, I shit on Robert C. Cooper. I wish Robert C. Cooper came back to write Origins or something better.
Whoa.
Easy now, come on.
I nearly fainted.
I mean, we're
what did you just say?
we're all having jokes here, mate. Come on.
Now, mind you, I've got a file
serious.
where I'm keeping
Then everyone would
compliments.
agree with me then. That's all.
I'm keeping compliments with Brendan Pace to Robert C. Cooper, and out of 64 episodes of Get Into Geek, that is number 2.
And we're still not sure if it's extreme sarcasm.
No one
you'll
can
never
tell.
know.
So dry.
But the thing I was
can
just saying
tell
about
from all the deadpan.
the giant aliens, while I, you know, it's fair enough that they're, you know, mist or energy or whatever. But were they always? And if they weren't, why, if they're giant in this 1,000-meter tall pyramid, was the doorway high enough for regular-sized humans to get through? Like when SG-1 walked into the
missed.
Malp,
Yeah.
they were in a normal, like the opening was normal size. The
Yeah.
pathway through the pyramid to the cavern was...
I still feel like the pyramid and all that sort of stuff would have been built by humans, but these guys were like interdimensional aliens, and it's like the skulls.
And they've been in that sort of dimension or
Yeah.
phase.
Yeah, and they're kind
for
of
a longer-
phasing it, and
yeah.
because of all the Nintendos and all that sort of stuff in the air, they're able to. This is like they could only interact with us within this pyramid because of all the Nintendos.
Yeah.
Like, they couldn't appear outside the pyramid.
And I guess that makes sense too with the pathway out to the pedestal, because it was only like the Malp couldn't even get out there; it was so skinny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And caused them to have really awful CGI running shots. Like
Yeah.
There's an amazing one that I've got
there
to
were so many of those.
So
It was
bad.
weird,
You
like-
see the green screen?
Well, and there's
One of
one point where a rock with the green screen goes through Christopher Judge's head.
Oh, really?
Yes, I
Yeah.
took a video of it that I'll show you guys now that we won't put up on our socials, where I've done what I did in Need, where I've kind of zoomed right in so you can see it.
Oh,
And it
yes.
just disappears behind that rock.
Yeah. We'll
Yeah.
chuck that up on the socials. So Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, we'll
So-
chuck up that clip.
There's also
In their defense, though, that was their first ever full green screen set.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
In
was
the
very
series?
ambitious.
And it
Yeah.
was the year 2000.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
But they said they learn a lot in terms of tracking shots and trying to find the key.
In the long run, it does save the production quite a lot of money as well, because in later seasons, when their budget is cut a little bit, they learnt a way to put it's a blue screen / green screen behind the gate and project onto that as a much cheaper way of doing the gate effect.
Right.
To the point where they even then continue that along to a certain point where they put like a silk screen behind. After learning what they do with the green screens, there's a certain point where they put a silk screen behind the gate and actually use like a rear screen projector and project the event horizon onto it.
Hang on, are you saying that this is something we could do at home?
Totally. If you had whatever these guys
my
have.
wife's going to get quite a surprise.
I built a Stargate.
Silk sheet and a projector.
Yeah.
Done.
That could be a number of things at Mitch's house, though.
I've incorporated those things in other activities.
Yeah.
But
It's already set up, guys.
I mean, if you want to build a Stargate in your basement, well, then we'll just flash forward to like season 6 or whatever, or season 5, and we'll get there. We'll figure it out for you. You'll build it out of a toaster, and you'll be sweet.
well, I actually talking about
It
the
wasn't
money.
MacGyver.
I found myself thinking towards the end, once, he's been on Earth for so long and he's, obviously just walking around following them. They can't see him. He goes and sees his grandfather. His grandfather comes back to the SGC and they're having a conversation. And I'm like, this is a real, like, money-saving Earthbound episode. And then I'm like, hang on, no, 25 minutes ago, it was all visual effects, all green screen. And then they're obviously going to have to do that at the end. So it wasn't just save every dollar we can. Half the episode, they're putting in more visual effects per shot than they ever have before. So, I mean, yeah, credit to them. It just, it was, I guess, a product of its time for TV.
But in saying that, that's the reason I could never get into Sanctuary, which was Amanda Tapping's next series after this.
Weird.
It was the storyline was okay, but it was a bit off. But the thing that irked me the most was the green screen. Like, the entire set for the whole series was green screen.
Yeah.
And you could tell. Like, it wasn't great.
That was like when they first started doing it, because it started out as a web series and was kind of to be this sort of weird mixed media, almost look like cutscenes from a video game kind of look. So the entire set is green screen with steps from maybe like a desk that they rest a book on or whatever. And so because of it, the makeup they use is really different to stop that green sort of shimmer that you see sometimes. They basically had to paint them orange. So that then they would look normal on screen, but you can kind of see it. Amanda Tapping, I have to admit, looks the best out of a lot of them.
Yeah.
But the other characters, you can kind of see the makeup that they're wearing, and it's a bit odd. I think I watched up to about first season's a bit iffy, but season 2 and 3 were quite good.
Oh, okay, yeah. I only got halfway through 2.
They never showed here in Australia, so you can only buy them on DVD, and that was like $60 a season. And I was just like, I ain't doing that, no way. So I still haven't seen the last season.
Highly endorsed series.
Well, it's one of those things where it's kind of like it affected Stargate directly in terms of Amanda Tapping's availability, and we'll get into that in later seasons, but it kind of directly affected the quality of some episodes of Stargate due to Amanda leaving and going off to Sanctuary. So
They cross over. Like,
yeah.
I never
Why
realised
would they
that.
let her do that if she's on contract?
They thought it was cancelled. They thought SG1 was cancelled after season 7. Isn't that the reason?
No. This
after
is
8.
I don't want giving way to Rhys, but it's not SG1 related. It's another show related.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
And
fair enough.
Yeah, she sort of signed. She finishes her run on SG1 and then does another season of another show and was going to go on to do a second season, but instead decided to go over to Sanctuary. For her, it made sense because if she'd stayed where she was, she would have got 1 year's worth of paycheck. If she went over to Sanctuary and got 5 years worth of paycheck,
Yeah.
it's the same. And you can give me a that's one or up to 1 or 2 for this episode.
This will be 2.
2. Terry Farrell, who played Jadzia Dax on DS9, she left the series.
I hadn't even finished.
She left the series.
A couple of weeks ago, he wanted me to do it before he even started,
Yeah.
so I'm just going to mix it up.
She left the series at the end of season 6. The show only had 1 season left. She left to go and do Becca with Ted Danson. So instead of
Wait,
doing,
which chick's this?
Good show.
Terry Farrell, the hot brunette chick. the
Oh,
tall- from
behind
Becca.
the bar.
Yeah, Reggie.
Reggie.
Yeah,
Love Reggie.
She's amazing in DS9. She's one of my favourite characters. And yeah, she left at the end of season 6 to do this show. So she got like 4 seasons or something out of Becca. Whereas if she'd stayed on Star Trek, she would have got 1 season and missed out on Becca. So from a
career.
point of view, professional view, you know, they both made the right decision. I think they got a lot more work out of it.
Unless they wouldn't have cancelled the
Yeah,
other series
maybe.
if Manda was in it.
Yeah, that's true. I think the writing was on the wall by that point.
Couple of moments I liked. One was a comedy moment from bloody O'Neill, when he's like, "No, I'm good to go," and then he gets off the bed and just falls straight onto the floor.
That was so good.
And then Tilk picks him up and
Dr.
just
Friedrich's
face
normally
With
right.
like one arm too, just picks up and just throws him almost.
Smashes him into the bed.
Thank you.
Smashes him.
I
Yeah.
thought that was just brilliantly done.
Yes.
And then another moment is when Nicholas Ballard is his amazement at the Stargate when he steps into the embarkation room, and he's just like, holy! Like, I really felt his point of view when he's looking at the gate, like, holy shit! Like, you're going to different planets, like.
Yeah.
This is, and then everyone else is going around routine as usual, and he's standing there going, "Holy shit, this is amazing!"
Yeah, it's good
Yeah.
to touch on it. Every couple of seasons they do that. They just touch and remind us because
Yeah.
obviously we as the fifth member of SG1, you kind of get used. Oh yeah, it's the gate. It's fine. We see
Yeah.
it every
Yeah.
week. We see it every day. So yeah, it's good just to remind us of the wonder of what's
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
going on.
Because
in
you
the
do
series.
have those thoughts, like you just said, Rhys. You have those thoughts of you going to other planets, and you know the whole universe is open to you. Like
Yeah.
if you didn't see the wonder of him seeing it for the first time, you wouldn't have thought that.
Yeah.
Mm.
He did it really well.
Yeah.
Great acting.
And just to think, like, him finding out, even if he didn't see the gate, it's like, oh, where's Daniel? It's like, well, look up in the sky. It's like, see that one over there, and that constellation.
Yeah.
He's over there. It's like, wow, oh my God, he must be there for some amazing. No, he's just going to see what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, they don't even know what's in that planet. They're just going there to
Yeah.
just to see
check it out.
what's there and who's there and
Because
what they're doing.
That's the other thing. When they went to the bloody nut farm that Ballard was in.
Shady
and
Acres.
Shady Acres, yeah. They were talking to him, and he's saying, "Oh, Daniel's wasted his life talking about these pyramids being from aliens and stuff." And I'm just like, just tell him it's true. Tell him that. And obviously they couldn't, but it's just like, I felt so absorbed into the moment. I'm just like, you just got to tell him, like, Jesus.
It kind of reminded me of Torment of Tantalus in a lot of ways too, in that we find out, you know, an act after we first meet him, that Nicholas has been able to see Daniel the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it kind of reminded me of Ernest and Catherine in Torment of Tantalus, where
Oh, yeah.
he kind of brushes her because he thinks she's a figment of his imagination,
Yeah.
not that she's real. This was kind of the flip side to that, in that, you know, Daniel's been talking this whole time and Nicholas just been ignoring him
Yeah.
because Nicholas thinks that he's in his head.
And I'd forgotten about that too until this rewatch, because I'm like, oh, that's right, yeah, he can see him, but he knows he's on a different plane because the doctors weren't aware of him in the room when he first walked in. And I thought, when they get into a private room, he's going to say that he can see him because he knows that he's been under the same influence of the same item. I'd forgotten that from the very first second he walked in, he's like, okay,
Daniel's pretty
that's
dumb
what's
though.
going
Like
on.
when they are in Nick's sort of private room, like once they're on base, he's literally having a conversation, like a back and forward with Nick.
Yeah.
But it's not until Nick turns around and looks at him directly that he's like, "Wait, you can
Yeah.
see me? You know what
Yeah.
I'm doing?" And it's like, mate, he's literally been responding to what you've been
talking to you.
saying,
Yeah.
you dipshit.
For 3 lines.
Yeah. It's like, come on, man.
I mean, I can almost understand it because now for the second week in a row, Daniel's been meditating. This time with Tilk. And Tilk senses Daniel.
Meditating his brains out.
Yeah. Meditating his
Yeah.
Nimrod.
Imagine if Tilk did get into some weird shit when he went in. He's like, I'm just going to kill Noreen. I need it to like help me rest. And he goes in there and Daniel
Fisting his pouch.
No. He pulls Junior out and just licks it. Puts it back in.
Oh, so bad.
I haven't eaten, I haven't
How is
eaten
that
yet.
worse than the term fisting his pouch?
Yeah.
Nah, we got used to that 2 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah,
we got
that's
past
true,
that.
that's fair enough,
I've
that's
never
fair
thought about licking a symbiote.
I think
It's the new.
I feel like one of Tilk. It is like in the opening scene. He does give it, I think, a bit of a movie quote here. See if you can pick it up.
Our cruisers can't repel firepower of that magnitude.
I know of no gold structure of that magnitude.
It's all I could think of straight away.
Does Tilk ever go, it's a trap?
What was
That'd
that?
be good. That was
Star
Admiral
Wars.
Akbar.
Right.
Yeah, because I was expecting
Jesus.
Tilk. I didn't realise until
Yeah, me
I
too.
was a bit like, when did
Yeah.
he...
Our cruisers can't repel firepower of that magnitude.
Oh man, he's on some serious juice in the Kelmar Ream.
I don't remember this. I don't remember this bit.
You guys can't instantly recognise Admiral Akbar's voice. What the hell are we
You
doing
said
here?
Tilk, so I was waiting for Tilk.
Ay, caramba.
Yeah, me too.
Ay, caramba.
Did you notice at the very, very start, it's the Zat is the problem yet again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
classic.
if Teal'c hadn't have zatted the energy beam, everything would have been fine. It's
Yeah.
like Daniel would have been transported into the other realm,
They all
talked
would
with
have been except
Quetzalcoatl,
Tilk.
and then come back would have been fine. It's
Yeah.
only because he zatted him that...
Stop zatting things too. Well, he thinks after 1969 he's just the Zat fixes everything.
Fix everything.
He's like, I'll do it again.
Yeah, and his kid.
Yeah.
When he shot his kid.
Yeah.
Just give it a good old zat. It'll restart it,
Fuck,
reboot.
reboot, yeah. Off
It
and
was-
on again.
It was very convenient,
Got an
though,
email.
that the
Little tantric.
the energy beam detected Teal'c and went, okay, we're not going to transport you, but obviously didn't detect Jolena and was just like, no, we'll take Carter,
Yeah.
she's fine.
No, she has the
Yeah.
protein, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's what I mean. She's got the protein marker, but
Yeah.
it didn't detect that. So it's like, no, we'll have her.
And
The
they're like
protein
us,
marker
mate.
for the gold.
They're so
Dead.
above Jolena at this point that
Yeah.
it's not even worth bringing up.
Yeah, they're like, it's fine, don't worry about it.
Did you notice, though, when Teal'c came back to grab the skull, it wouldn't fit in the case?
Yeah, that was a cracker.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's
he
trying to
couldn't-
shut it in. He's like, oh, I'll just pick up the case.
Yeah, and he just kind of ran away with it.
And see, I didn't think anything of that until the end when they brought it back and it was perfectly sealed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, hang on a second.
But then the next shot, as he's
tick.
putting it on the ground, it's open again.
Yeah. But running across that bridge, man.
Yeah, I feel like
Like,
that was
That was
unintentionally narrow.
sprinting.
Like,
Yeah.
And then poor O'Neill had to actually carry another human.
Yeah.
Like Carter just she went from perfectly fine to catatonic.
Yeah.
So, if we hang in,
I'm
And
like,
he's-
why
yeah.
did she faint?
Also,
Yeah.
in the second time they did it, she was fine.
and I feel like any other
Because it didn't
situation.
get stopped. That's the way I figured it. Because Tilk didn't shoot it. So then the radiation didn't affect them
Right.
for that reason.
Makes sense.
I don't know. I didn't mind the Hammond phone call scene where he's like, "Yes, a close friend." Although that was kind of a nice touch because you don't really
Yeah.
Hammond's
Close
on the phone
friend.
to his granddaughter.
yeah.
Yeah, that was a good little moment, eh?
Yeah, I
His
didn't
acting,
mind that.
you never see him sort
Emote.
of out of work.
Yeah,
character.
and then Daniel's like, "Oh, he considers me a friend. Okay, that's
Yeah.
cool. I like that."
That's nice.
Yes, he's a very close friend, and Daniel's like, "I never actually thought of him as a friend."
Yeah.
It's kind of a
don't even-
catfish and son of a bitch.
I haven't once called him George. Shit, okay.
I didn't even know his middle name.
H.
I know Caleb, but he is a know-it-all nerd. But I have to find him.
He doesn't want to be here most of the time, but
His only family is a nutcase uncle,
crazy old
granddad.
crazy old granddad.
Hey,
Don't-
I didn't notice it. I only read it in some info about the episode, but apparently Doc Frazier's got a promotion.
Yeah, I read that too.
She's
a major.
she's wearing major pip rank things on her shoulders
Right.
now.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you what they look
what was she?
like. Whatever the thing below that is, captain, I guess.
Captain Doctor.
Yeah. So I guess her and Carter have always had the same rank, and
They
now...
call her Dr. Fraser. Well, you should be considered using their rank.
Well, she is the actual base doctor, though. Like, she's a medical doctor, whereas Carter's
Yeah.
got the
Doctor Major.
What do you call it? Doctorate, the PhD or whatever. So
yeah, she's got a doctorate in medicine.
Now, with the promotion, did she also get a new haircut or just new hair color? I've noticed she's
I
looking
feel like
darker.
every episode she gets a different haircut or hair color.
She's just wild. She's that person.
Yeah.
She's like that. She's like the,
I got some blue in the hair.
She's the
guys.
crazy tech chick from NCIS. You go and see Fraser, you never know what's going to happen.
I'd love to see a goth Fraser just rock on and she's just got the big black pigtails
Yeah.
and just full black.
Wearing
and,
big
you know-
high top boots
black
and
boots,
shit.
yeah.
They got 6-inch heels and yeah.
Well, ironically, she does wear 6-inch heels because she's about 4 foot tall. So
Yeah.
in one of the sort of behind the scenes extras on the DVD, she actually shows you her shoes, and they've got these big 6-inch platform
Wow.
heels on them for any scenes where she's got to be next to any of the other cast because she's just such a little tiny chick.
Tilk wears them as well. Just on his days off.
So hot. Near the end, though, where we were talking about how they were trying to put the skull back on the pedestal, Tilk takes it carefully out of that container, gives it to old man Nick, who's like, I'm going, he's crusty, man. There's like a huge void down there. Imagine if he just tripped and just lost the skull.
Oh, dude, going across that bridge, he nearly fell. Just
Yeah,
walking
yeah.
across it.
And he was like, oh, shit.
Here, have the crystal skull.
Yeah, have
mate.
it. Like, it's only Daniel Jackson's life. Who
Yeah,
cares?
no problem. Don't worry about it.
Did it feel really quick, like, come the end? Because it was like all this big thing, what's going on, who's done it, and why, and we get there, it's like, mystical aliens, hey, you've been here before, you want to stay here? Yeah, I'll stay here.
Yeah, I thought
closing
it was-
credits, I'm like, I want to just, I know, like you said,
Goodbye,
we never see him
Grandpa.
again, but just give us another 2 minutes there and find out a little bit more
who
about
they
them.
are, yeah.
It was so selfish of Jackson. He's like, how Ballard was like, yeah, I'll go with them. And then Jackson's like, but you just came back into my life. And I'm thinking, dude, he's been at the nut farm this
Yeah.
whole time and you just don't visit him.
Yeah.
Like,
It's your choice, mate.
Yeah.
Oh,
like
we
he's
had a
been in your
falling
life
out.
this whole time. Like,
We had a huge argument.
you start being a douchebag. I can have you in my life now. He's like, dude, I'm done with you. I'm out.
It's a bit of a pattern too when you think about it. Like he was trapped, but he stayed on Abydos for a year, and then Catherine Langford tells us in season 1 that he'd been back for 6 months before he even went and saw her.
Yeah.
Like she brought him into that world, and he gets back. He's like, I'll do that later.
It was classified, but now it still is. But I'm telling you now.
As if Daniel would just enjoy going over to Catherine's place for tea or something and crumpets. You know, come on,
Yeah.
mate. Don't you classified excuse.
Yeah.
Classic Daniel.
No.
Days
Good
off.
call.
He want a bloody Sunday roast every now and again. He's not going to cook it himself.
He'd play bingo with her like a madman.
2 fat ladies, 88.
2 ducks in a row, 22.
When the energy enveloped them all, and then Tilk didn't get transported, it just reminded me of Tin Man when he didn't get a double. He's like, Tilk feels left out. Do you know what happened? I wasn't transported with the others. Come back to base, Tilk.
Can I voice the big guy?
Yeah. So he was in that scene at least.
All right.
All right, you can be the voice.
Yes.
I think I have found my new favorite, like, expletive and, like, excited call. Bullwinkle. Holy smoke, Bullwinkle. Where the hell
Oh,
did
is
he
that
pull
what
that
that
from?
was?
That's
Is that
what he
what he
said.
Holy smoke, Bullwinkle.
I was like, all right, fair enough. It's pretty out there, but all right.
Yeah, I can't.
In an
Holy
episode
shit
with giant
bull
smoke
bullshit.
aliens, that's kind of out there.
Holy snapping.
Maybe it was meant to be a giant moose or something.
Jesus.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah, good gear.
Definitely.
Bullwinkle.
No, that's good
Oh,
logic.
yeah, we got it.
Rocky and
No,
Bullwinkle.
no,
Yeah,
no.
yeah, yeah.
Like, yeah, we got it. Like, we got it.
No, it's
From
what
the, that
we're saying is that
the
it was
cartoon.
a shit joke.
Yeah, like, it just wasn't funny. Like, we got it.
Neither was your bit.
look at his
make
face;
it-
he's just so hurt. Oh, you
Ow.
hurt my heart.
I'm devastated.
Brendan
in my voice.
feels left out. He's the only one here who's not funny.
I do find it interesting though when they were in the scene with Nick, when Daniel didn't know that he could see him. He's saying about his theories about aliens. He never had a theory about aliens. The pyramids being used as alien landing pads.
Who did?
Daniel in the movie. He only theorized that as far as the building of them were concerned, it must have occurred much earlier than the sixth dynasty or whatever it was of the pharaohs. Never at all in the movie was he saying to the archaeological community, they're landing pad for alien ships.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was one of those things they kind of retconned for the TV series.
Yeah.
And just went, that was kind of the extension of that
Yeah.
theory. We just didn't really see it.
Because his big walkout moment in the movie, when when he was spreading his theories to other scientists and stuff, was they go, "What happened?" Then he goes, "I don't know what happened."
yeah, I
That's
don't
when
know
they're
what
like, "Oh,
happened."
so
Yeah.
you don't have a theory. You
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
you're debunking other theories for no reason."
Yeah.
Yeah. It could have been cut out of the sort of original, like the theatrical cut of the
Maybe.
movie
Yeah.
or something like that. But yeah, they kind of just expand on, because I guess it would have been a dead giveaway then when, later in the film when you literally see a giant pyramid spaceship landing on another pyramid.
Yeah.
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 They've had to retcon it because he's always went, "Oh no, it's just dynasty stuff," earlier than that, and then they actually see one land on a pyramid. Oh, I knew it. Sick called that. Yeah,
That's my actual theory.
Yeah.
Sure, mate.
yeah.
That's what I didn't get when he's like, Ballard was saying how his theory about the crystal skull was aliens, giant aliens. And then he's
Giant
like,
aliens.
but Daniel's aliens, they're not real. That's ridiculous.
No, giant aliens, not pyramid aliens, obviously.
Yeah. But he would have, he thought he was in a cavern, hey, not a pyramid. I'm just
He's-
like, it wasn't that far. Jackson's wasn't that far-fetched if you're thinking giant aliens made of gas.
Yeah.
On the pyramid thing, so far has pyramids been exclusive to Gould use?
Yeah.
So what's the... Because I was going to ask a question before, like why do these guys... Why are they so worried about the Gould as enemies if they're in a different phase? And then I kind of answered my own question in my head was, well, if they had people like humans build their pyramid for them, then maybe the Gould attacked and killed their people, their followers.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And that's why they've got that skull there to protect whoever comes there, or just prevent the Gould from phasing over or something, or whatever.
And it did sort of hint at the fact that these guys were kind of the Mayan pyramid version rather than the Egyptian pyramid version, which is
true.
kind of the Goa'uld.
But up until this point, like and as it goes on, like the Gould they sort of cover all bases as far as Earth-based pyramids go, don't they? Like Chinese pyramids.
Yeah, but I mean, if you do your real-world sort of research and stuff, the Mayan stuff.
Oh, you're saying I haven't, mate? What are you
What are you suggesting?
If you go home, just
you do the research, dumbass.
let me just school you.
Sorry,
for
I
a second.
didn't mean to come across so douchey.
No, you didn't. But I haven't done the research.
Like the Mayan pyramids are very different to Egyptian pyramids, like in the way that they're built and constructed, and they're more sort of ziggurat and all that sort of stuff.
They got
I think
steps.
Yeah.
So they can climb up to the top.
Egyptians cleaned it up a little bit.
Yeah,
You can't get up the top, but it looks sexy.
Yeah.
Let's make secret passages. Ours will be cooler.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
How long do you reckon it'll be before they find the room? Oh, probably next week.
Yeah.
Next minute, 3,000 years later.
I've been playing Assassin's Creed Origins, and it's based in Egypt.
Is that your preferred Origins to come out in the last few months, or?
Oh, maybe. Absolutely.
Next time
so,
I'm in charge.
It's so awesome because you can climb up the Great Pyramid of Giza, and it's still got the marble and the gold on top.
Oh,
you
the
stand up
stone.
sit up the top, and then it does the synchronization thing that it usually does, and then you jump, and you slide down like a slippery slide.
Oh,
That's
sick.
It's so good.
That's
So good.
That sounds
It's worth
like
it.
a chapter out of Matthew Riley's series of books.
Yep.
Yeah, good call.
So good. Just on the
Book. What is a book?
Obviously, I was joking.
crystal skull, I had a bit of a theory. So if we look at it, there's obviously another crystal skull in Belize that was tied to the crystal skull on this planet that we found. So it sounds like Nick was transported to this pyramid, like he was transported across the galaxy and then interphased,
Yeah.
so that he could interact with Quetzalcoatl, however long ago it was. If Teal'c hadn't have shot his Zat, would Daniel have stayed there, or would Daniel have been shot to the crystal skull back on Earth and spoken to someone there?
Well, it only worked inside the cavern, right? So I'm thinking...
not the one that Nick interacted with on Earth back in the day.
That's true.
Because remember when we walked into the pyramid with Nick, he goes, "This is it. This is the place
Unless-
I went to."
Yeah,
Unless
but he
the
was
cavern-
he was in a temple when he found his,
And that's
where he was transferred to that cavern, and then came back to the temple, took the
In
skull out,
Belize.
and then the temple collapsed. And
Unless-
he said he went back but couldn't find it.
Unless the temple in Belize had Nintendo.
Nintendo
Had a Super Nintendo.
I was just wondering if maybe they're back and forth transportation, or
Yeah.
maybe like the one in the pyramid that we found on this planet, that's like the main skull,
base,
and then there's lots of other skulls
Yeah,
that will
true.
communicate you to this homeworld of theirs,
I have a feeling
regardless of where you go.
Yeah.
Teal'c didn't shoot it, it would have... What happened in the finale, in the final scene, would have happened. Teal'c wouldn't have transported. The other three would have.
Yeah, but they would have stayed in that pyramid. They would have been transported somewhere else.
I
Where
think
Nick
so.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't make a lot of sense. Does it transport you or take you to a different dimension, or
Well,
obviously
I think,
both?
Yeah, well, I think in Nick's case, both. So that's why I was just confused whether there's only 2 crystal skulls and they transfer back and forward, or maybe there's 100 out there, but the one that we met on this planet with Quetzalcoatl, that's the main one, and he's got 100 different skulls out there, and if someone can find it and activate it, they're transported to his temple where he can appear to them through the Nintendos. And,
What are you calling him?
Quetzalcoatl, he says that.
Does he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to play it again,
It's hard to hear.
What's your name?
Quetzalcoatl.
Money with that.
Yeah, so it's Quetzalcoatl.
I feel again that's like gotten lost somewhere in the pitch meeting where they went, and there's like a giant mist alien. They're like, "What will his name be?" He hasn't written that down. Quetzalcoatl.
I believe.
I've got 26 letters in a hat. Let's call it that.
A quick brown fox jumped over the fence or whatever it is. No, I believe it's got a Mayan background. Let me just Google it. Talk amongst yourselves, and I'll just. Aztec. He was the feathered serpent, a flying reptile much like a dragon, who was a boundary maker between the earth and sky. He was a creator deity, having contributed essentially to the creation of mankind in Aztec mythology.
Wouldn't have thought so.
Didn't look like he had feathers. But yeah, maybe because that's how they say, our enemy, if your enemy is our enemy.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend, yeah.
Yeah, so like maybe, I like that theory that you've got, how there's probably 100 skulls out there and you can go there, and if your enemy's the guy, you can stay there and they'll keep you safe or whatever.
Yeah, and they'll help you out. And other than that, they'll just go, F you, buddy.
Yeah, see you later, good luck.
See ya. Oh, I suppose if you, from what we've learned too, if you've got a Goa'uld symbiote in you, it's not going to transport you there anyway.
Yeah, true.
So it's, I guess it's their equivalent of the way we send out Malps and teams to explore.
Yeah.
They've just sent out these skulls somehow.
Draw them back.
To bring people to them. They're just too lazy. They're just like, just send out some skulls and they can come to us.
Yeah.
Do you know how expensive it is to run an SG program?
Yeah.
Billions a year. Forget that.
Billion. But get a DHD, it's free.
Totally. Oh, it's time for the Get Into Geek Hairy Mailbag.
Monthly-ish.
It felt weird. We didn't hear about Brendan's balls before we... Oh, sorry, his what? Yeah, his bag.
That was it.
Oh, not on air.
That was off air, mate.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
I actually wanted to kick it off. This is on Twitter, thanks to Scott Shaw at Skank in Taint. It's
Say again.
No, sorry,
is that
it's
gonna
not.
need to be
It's not
bleeped?
Skank. I think I read it the first time as Skank. It's actually at Shank in Taint.
Oh, that's
right.
I think I got a little bit ahead of myself and
I was
excited.
going to say
Yeah.
that
Wow.
first
I'm like-
one was my second Twitter account.
I'm looking at his photo. I'm like,
Shank with Taint.
Scott's a little bit cheeky.
Thank you.
Now, I wanted to mention this. This is from a couple of weeks ago, but it sort of pertains to something we just mentioned about this episode with the Zat shots that Teal'c, seems to fire at everything. That's the fix. He said that the episode 1969, so the penultimate episode of season 2, is the last time we see the 3 Zat shots. He says. I know, I'm asking you guys who know the show a little bit better than I. They wrote it out for the rest of the show, and we never saw it again, is what he wrote. So thanks to
In
Scotty
episode
Shaw.
100, they touch on it.
Yep.
Yeah, because I know some of the writers they just didn't understand. They're like, okay, we get 1 shot stuns, 2 shots kills. Well, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, depending on what they need to do for the script.
Yeah.
But they all found like 3 Zats disintegrates was just too much.
Yeah.
And then because a lot of especially James Titchener, who's the visual effects supervisor in some later seasons, and a couple of other sort of behind the scenes guys, are kind of they would always question things and like, okay, well, how long does it need to be between your first shot and your second shot for the second shot to kill? Like how, and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Because I still remember in very early seasons of Stargate, first watching it, it was like, oh god, they've been shot once by a Zat. They can never be shot by a Zat again, or they'll die.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine if they'd
true.
done that and
Yeah.
that sort of thing? So,
And it's
SG
funny
would be
too
good.
because next week in Nemesis they shoot something 3 times and it doesn't disintegrate.
yeah, that's right.
So, yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, I think they just as the new sort of blood comes through, they kind of just went, oh, it's a bit silly. And then in season 9, when they introduce sort of a new bad guy and some new tech that's not Goa'uld based, they kind of riff on it. And because the new bad guys, they have their version of a staff weapon and they have like this wrist mounted weapon, and they're like, that it's less powerful than the staff thing, but if you shoot someone once, they might pass out, but if you shoot them a couple of times, who knows? Like they kind of just deliberately be really vague with it and just go, it's just an energy weapon. It's just, they didn't want to sort of lock themselves in by assigning rules to it. So yeah, I didn't realize that was that long ago. That
Very
was
early,
the last time we got rid of the 3 Zat rule.
So sorry, no more disintegrations, Rhys.
I guess that'd be so much easier to like fix problems.
Yeah. Like the other day, shooting the asteroid 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could have disintegrated it.
There we go.
Makes some
Episode
sense.
over.
Yeah.
Everyone jump in. Let's go. We got a message here from Bobby Reedy.
Oh, I love Bobby Reedy, the Irish Dician.
Oh no!
Damn it! I thought I was going to get to read that one because he clearly wants me to do it in my bang-on Irish accent.
Oh, go for it, mate.
Okay, let me just, because I did a screenshot of it. I've got it here somewhere as well.
I thought you got a set script for your Irish accent.
Hmm?
I'm a hip-hopping granny.
No, you're the one that made the Mrs. Doubtfire connection. I never realised.
Mate, you sound exactly like it.
Oh, there you go. Well, no, it's just because Bobby Reedy, the Irish Dician, clearly, like he clearly wanted me to do it in the Irish accent because he ends his question with "P.S. Fiddly potatoes." So he clearly wanted me to
You ruined it for us now. I'm not interested.
Well, it was actually something we'd actually recorded the episode. It was for New Ground. We'd recorded the episode just before Bobby wrote in.
Yeah.
So he also, well, I'll let you read it as Bobby, I guess.
Okay. Hey, guys.
Oh,
Good start. Hang on.
No.
Oh, hey there, eh? I'm Irish, eh?
Oh, fiddly potatoes. Hey, guys. Question for next.
You're bookending it.
It's his go-to phrase. You know how you have to say a phrase to get into the
yeah.
accent?
And if you go Scottish, it's
Quite
Shrek.
right.
It's Shrek Frighty Donkey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody leaks.
Fiddly potatoes. Hi guys, question for next week's episode, New Ground. Is there a pretty big mistake with the gate dialing logic at the start of the episode? We see the chevrons on the alien planet lighting up one by one as the SGC is dialing the planet and before finishing the dialing sequence. How do you guys think it should work? Cheers, Bobby from Ireland. P.S. Fiddly potatoes.
It's funny because I messaged him back and I said, P.S. sorry in advance for the Irish accent. Matty will surely put on when he hears where you're from.
Hey, look, I'm pretty
And he
sure.
he said, and looking forward to Matty's terrible impression.
Yeah,
So-
well, if I remember correctly, he's living in Germany or somewhere in Europe because he followed us on Instagram. So I gave him a follow back,
yeah.
and so he's probably just missing his mother tongue. Is all I'm saying. So he just really needed to.
Not after that, he's not, mate.
He just wanted a little taste of home, and he came to me to give
Sounded
it
like
to him,
someone
so
was
I'm
drowning
fine
a
with that.
cat. That's what it sounded like to me.
Mrs. Doubtfire
How
was
many-
drowning a cat.
How many cats have you drowned in your life, Brendan?
Only 3. What did you want me to say? None. I'm a responsible adult.
Absolutely 0, but I've had a few wet pussies.
Not as many as I'd
Less
like.
than 3. If we want another one of my bang on accents, if we want to go over to New York with Eddie Fusco, fuck your mother, Eddie Fusco. He sent us through a picture of Martooth.
Eddie, did you say Eddie?
Yeah. Oh, sorry,
Eric?
Eric Fusco.
Yeah,
Fuck your mother.
Maybe you
Sorry.
got to insult him to
Changing
get
it.
his name right.
Hey, we're good mates. I call him Eddie for short, all right?
It's not even a nickname.
And
Yeah,
longer.
Eddie, hey, if Dick can be short for Richard, Eddie can be short for Eric.
It's like
okay?
me calling you Mike.
That's fine.
High pitch Mikey.
That's my dad's name. So
I
people
call you
me that all the
Michael,
time.
short for Matt.
It's fine. Hey, look, when you're as good of friends as Eddie and I can call him Eddie instead of Eric.
Hey,
okay?
mate, you're not as good as friends as Brendan and
It's
Apophis.
a private
Nah,
joke.
me and Pete.
Apoff.
Peep off.
Eric just sent us through a picture of Martooth and said, "Can we agree that from now on his name is Marteeth?"
Yeah, good call.
Yeah.
Like that's
Great call.
Agreed,
Absolutely.
Has that photo been
Cool.
Look, when
No,
you look at
that's
when you look at
legit.
it,
Haters will say that's Photoshop.
Yeah, haters.
oh,
I wish.
that was Samantha.
I wish my teeth were that white. I really do.
Man, what can he? Imagine what he could do with those teeth.
That's
What can he do, Matty?
Simon Cowell.
What can he do?
What can he do with those two?
Matty's going to pass out.
He's losing it. I've never seen him laugh so hard.
Now, just to explain for those...
Breathe, mate, breathe.
Say it.
I've never seen him crack up so hard.
Oh man, that's so good. Say it.
What can he do?
I'm trying.
What can he do?
I'm trying to shoot him.
He could eat your ass like a bag of groceries.
Oi, he
I
could
didn't
do-
understand a
even that
single
funny.
word you
I
said.
tell you
Not
what,
even that funny.
he could demolish a corn on the cob.
Through a chain wire fence. Oh, I'm crying.
I thought it was out of a bag of carrots. I thought that's what you said.
No, you could eat your ass like a bag of groceries.
Right.
I don't know why we're
No,
I'm
we
glad
got
we
it.
cleared that up.
It's going to get cut both times, so I don't know why we're going back to it.
Nah,
Because
I'm leaving that one in.
he's
got
leaving
time
it in
to
there.
Oh, Oh, it's not even
I was-
that funny, but I don't know why I love it so much.
Oh, shit. I was about to preface it and say the in-joke is something we had to cut out.
Yeah.
But now that you've said it, I'm like, it's not that bad. Let's put it in.
It's fine. It's fine. Oh, all right. Who's next?
I got one here. 5-star review on iTunes, actually, from Schlonger Dragon from the USA.
Nice.
You guys are awesome. I love this podcast. I've listened to every episode. The only issue I have is the long time between some episodes. True geeks don't have lives and wouldn't miss a week of putting out a podcast.
Well, look,
Fair call,
I
but-
can't disagree because, I'm ready to go every week, unlike other people, but,
Mate.
We've been a while since we've not had a podcast out.
Yeah,
a week.
because I've turned into a tyrant trying
we've
to
had a
crack
good
the whip
run.
around you guys. And
We got Joe, like Mitch's
Schedule
actual
you
job
to
is
within-
a professional geek on radio.
yeah,
Like, that's his job.
Yes, you
Yeah.
can get paid for it.
he gets paid to it. We do this for free. So
No,
it's
I
like
get
he can-
paid out for being a geek on radio. Sorry, no,
Yeah,
you're right.
Mainstream radio.
Good call.
Simple answer to that is we got fucking lives, mate.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah, we see how we go.
Also, we're fucking alcoholics. So,
Oh, I'll speak for yourselves.
well, yeah, me and Brendan.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
About
right.
one drink a year.
So a lot of the time we're either too drunk or too hungover.
Mostly too hungover.
Mostly still drunk, can't drive the next morning.
I wanted to give a massive shout out to our regular contributor, Aaron Percival. He got back to us about Ergo. He says, I love Ergo, and you're so right. A lot of it just hinges on Dom DeLuise's performance. But the thing I wanted to bring up the most is he says, also, Maddie, what is up with these guys? They don't already love Scrubs? He says, first Star Trek, then Gilmore Girls.
We do like Scrubs.
Well,
Yeah.
you guys,
Hey, speak for
you guys,
yourself.
all three of you guys gave me blank stares when I brought up a Scrubs reference the other week.
Yeah, but we haven't watched them back to back.
Aaron goes
all
on
of
to...
them.
Well, you should have. That's what geeks really do. Aaron says, first Star Trek, then Gilmore Girls, now Scrubs. Them boys need some culture.
Gilmore Girls. You have
Yeah.
a laugh.
Culture.
It's Aaron, not
Culture.
me.
Having
What
a laugh
culture
at
are we
you,
talking
right?
about?
And then the best part is he goes on... He actually does a podcast of his own. He says, I co-run Alien vs. Predator Galaxy, one of the oldest and largest alien and predator communities. We've got a semi-regular podcast. He says, the older ones suck balls, but the last 3 or so years are pretty decent.
Yeah. Welcome to the club.
So you can
Yeah.
check it out at www.avpgalaxy.net. And what I do love is he went on to pay out Mitch asking, and I think you boys were asking if you guys had even seen Alien vs. Predator, which Mitch took very... He was like, hey, that I've seen.
How dare you?
That I've seen.
I get shade from everyone that I tell that I haven't seen the Fast and Furious movies.
Oh, you haven't even seen one? I thought you'd like
Not
seen
even
one with
one.
like
haven't
tapped
you?
out. Yeah.
No.
Because we were going to go see number 2,
Yeah,
and we had a car crash
Yeah.
on the way.
Oh, that's right.
Bo.
Yeah.
Driving.
Thanks, Bo.
Cheers, Bo. Right off that car.
I don't know if we mentioned it. I may have mentioned it in one of our previous episodes. Or
You
not.
might be the only people in the world that had a car crash before you watched the Fast and Furious movie.
Yeah, I know.
I'd say it'd be in the thousands of people like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah,
Afterwards,
I
when
could
we
drive
drive
like
home.
Vin.
I don't know if we mentioned it in one of the previous episodes, but we've spoken in the past about a sort of friend of mine who I don't really talk to anymore who loves Gogglebox. And
Yeah.
who,
Good
I'm
call.
glad you said previous friend.
yeah, well, and on top of that, I saw them putting a post on Facebook last week or the week before as proudly being one of the few people in the world who's never seen an episode of Game of Thrones.
Proudly.
Yeah, that's
So
really
it's
come out the last 2 years,
got,
hasn't it?
got
See-
time for Gogglebox, no time for Game of Thrones.
So you watch people watch Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
Yeah.
But seen every episode of Married at First Sight, guys.
Talk to me again about Davina. Jon Snow, who's that? No. Yeah, that's really come out the last 2 years.
least-
Like people making a point on social media. Like people I'm good friends with, like, I've never seen an episode. Other people are like, I'm going to like this. Yeah, neither have I. I don't get what it's all about. I hope I never watch an episode. I'm like, is that going to become a thing where we just start talking about the things that we don't like that other people like?
Yeah.
What else haven't you done with your life?
It's the same way sort of people are now, they're sort of turning on Rick and Morty fans. Like, that Rick and Morty fans are just so arrogant. It's like, oh, if you don't get Rick and Morty, well, you're so dumb.
Yeah, fair call.
Yeah, that's fair.
Jeez.
You've obviously
Have a
got
drink in your life.
You've obviously got a stable life if you don't understand Rick and Morty.
I don't do drugs or alcohol. I watch Rick and Morty.
Yeah. And just to touch on something else that Aaron sent through to us in regards to our revisit of shitting through a gate. logistics
Yep,
the other week.
How has this become the common thread of our podcast?
Look,
But anyway,
we've always
Hey,
said...
their best
nobody
gear.
else has ever answered these questions.
I'm
so
not
we're doing
complaining
for the
about
fans.
it.
We've always said...
I'm just saying we didn't plan on it.
Give the people what they want.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Aaron says, I cannot believe what I'm listening to. I sat here at work pissing myself to the physics of crapping through the Stargate. Good enough. But then obviously he goes through and puts his own theory through, which is what I like. Personally, I don't think you'd be able to crap if your ass is in the event horizon. You'd need to be hovering above it. I think it's just one of those inconsistencies that is pretty much throughout the show. And then Brittany Reinhardt commented, yeah, I really feel like you'd have to lay the gate down for it to be easy enough to be worthwhile. Otherwise, it just seems like way too much work, even for what is essentially an intergalactic poop joke. So...
Well, I kind of disagree, because if you have your gun in the event horizon and the trigger on the outside, the bullets are still going to fire through, I feel. So if you have your ass in the event horizon and your intestines and stomach are outside, the poo's going to go somewhere.
Yeah, it's a fine line between like cheek and sphincter is how far you want to get into the event horizon.
Yeah,
you know.
cool.
So
No, that's so true.
just debating the serious questions.
I have another iTunes review here. Sorry, I'll just get it up.
No, you're right, mate. Take your time. Just get the floor and then start to organise yourself. That's fine.
Yep.
Go.
Thanks. 5 stars. Love Heart Stargate. This is from...
Love Heart Stargate.
Aggressive Rhys has got in the mailbags lately.
Yeah.
I feel like when he's emptying his
Hey,
mailbag,
mate,
he likes to be aggressive.
When you get into a mailbag,
He likes to aggressively empty
you gotta
his
get
mailbag.
aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wants to choke someone.
Ironically, it's normally his brother, which is weird. So.
Hey, whoa.
This is from Philiga Yowie from Australia. We've got an Aussie.
Oh, nice.
This is from January 30. As a huge Stargate fan, I'm always looking for anything Stargate. Most podcasts I tried just wasn't good enough. Then came across these 4 guys. Absolutely love the discussions and the funny anecdotes. I've listened to 55 episodes in 14 days. Keep up the good work, guys.
Jesus.
I hope we
Wow.
get to go through right through Atlantis and universe. Thank you, Philiga. If I'm saying, sorry, I don't know, Piliga, Piliga Yowie.
Piliga.
If I'm saying that right.
Sure. It's probably Philippa or something, but yeah.
Well, it's P.
Piliga.
I've got a couple from a new contributor, Tyson Johnson. He gave us a review on Facebook, I believe. Says, you're all awesome. 5 stars. You're all awesome. Greatest Stargate podcast out, period.
Oh.
Take that to the bank.
Jesus.
Great to
Nice.
great to follow
Blood
along
words.
with a new fan and get his opinions and views.
Oh, thanks, mate. Yeah, no.
Rhys is always getting the credit.
I'm your biggest fan as well.
Keep it going, guys.
So,
Love
cheers.
ya. And then he also put a comment
Love you
on
too,
our
mate.
Facebook page
you
as
too.
well. I think it's got to do what we were talking about with a little bit of a Twitter feud. I'm going to put it out there. Feud. Regarding our boy Apoff and whether he is the greatest Gould of all time or not.
He is.
Tyson says, I just want to put my opinion out there. Apophis, I'll let you finish, but Apophis is the greatest Gould of all time. He is an enemy that when he is on the show, I'm like, oh shit, it's about to get real.
Yeah, totally.
Hashtag OG Apophis.
Yep.
Yeah, OGA
absolutely.
Apophis. Yep. Baal fucking sucks. Always found him super annoying. Hashtag Baal sucks. Hashtag thank you continuum. So
Yeah. Thank you, continue.
thank you, Tyson.
Yeah,
Speaking
good
of
call.
Baal, Jana Cox has sent us, good friend of the show. Jana
I
Cox.
believe it's Yana. Oh, no, it's not.
Australia, mate. She sent us a picture. She said, I tried to message this to y'all, but I couldn't get it to work, so I had to save the pic and had to share this with you. Enjoy. It's a GQ magazine, Goa'uld Quarterly.
It's so good.
The 5 greatest system lords of all time. And I presume it's Baal on the cover. It
I
says,
like this
Yeah.
bit over
Lord
here.
Baal leads the pack. 150 pages of Peltac chic,
Yeah. Dressing,
whatever that means.
I love it.
dressing for despotic domination. I love. Pimp Your Huttark, page 169.
Alright.
We'll chuck that up on the socials.
Yeah. Yana.
Yeah?
Yeah. Ashley O sent us a message on Facebook. I don't know why, but this is regarding Ergo. I don't know why, but I always, for some reason, thought the frog thing was Ergo. And they just extract copies from him and stick them into unsuspecting victims. This theory is flawed in so many ways. It was
the frog thing at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. This theory is flawed in so many ways. It was my stupid child brain making assumptions. My adult brain just goes along with despite a ton of evidence. But I don't mind that. That frog is just ruling that planet all along.
He looked like I reckon they could have put him in one of the episodes and sold it like a minion. He looked like a pretty cool little frog guy.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like they're doing with the new Star Wars bloody penguin things.
Oh, the
Porgs.
The porgs. Like, literally, I went to the shop and I'm like, they're for sale, and they're like $80.
Jesus.
And I'm like, that's the only reason they're in the movies, because they're cashing in.
Yeah.
Good story.
Yeah, absolutely. I got another 5-star review on Facebook this time from Elliot Corsa. Brizzy boy.
Attaboy.
Brizzy represent.
That's where we're from also. I've loved Stargate for a very long time, and finally there's a Stargate podcast worthy of listening to. Recommended for any Stargate fan out there.
Boom.
That's awesome.
Mic
Thanks,
drop.
Elliot.
Mic
awesome.
drop.
Cheers, mate.
And the last one I got, I just want to give a shout out on Instagram, Holly Maneri. She gave us all a follow on Instagram. She's from Tasmania. Her little bio on Instagram says,
From Lonnie.
yeah, Tasmanian.
You know Justin Kirbishley?
Journalist.
Probably does.
I don't know what that means.
He doesn't.
Scenery lover, wine enthusiast.
Do you know Ricky Ponting?
No, I don't. Mother to Siamese cat called Finn and a cavoodle named Freddie. So shout out to Finn and Freddie.
Oh, from Lonnie.
Lonnie.
Well,
you're assuming she's from Lonnie, but you know.
No, I'm not.
Well, she just says
Tasmania is pretty much Hobart and Launceston.
well, she could be a
One few
Hobie then.
towns.
She could be a Hobie.
No, she
Hobie?
followed me.
She doesn't
she followed me
necessarily
on
have to be a Lonnie.
Instagram and Twitter, so she says she's from Launceston.
No, it says journalist Tasmanian.
Are you on Twitter?
No,
Just
I'm
shut
on
the
Instagram.
f*** up.
Whoa! Whoa!
What, by the way, what is your handle on Twitter?
I don't know.
What have you got on your phone?
Oh, I don't know. I'd have to.
Twitter.
Isn't it Pokemat or something?
I don't have.
Oh, no, that's Snapchat.
No, that's his other one. Yeah.
I
That's his grinder.
I don't. Pokey Matt all day. I don't know.
Poke me, man.
Pokemon Matt.
I don't have the Twitter app on my phone, so I've literally got to
Oh.
Google Twitter and then try and see if I can log in. I don't use it, mate.
Fair enough.
It's shit.
I want to follow you.
Twitter is excellent at the moment. I'm
Well,
right
just
back in.
search my
I've
name,
dropped
you
off
idiot.
Instagram. I'm right back into
Well,
Twitter.
Twitter's really good.
Thank you,
for-
American
for
politics.
Stargate. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Here we go. It's I'm following 38 people and I've got 0 followers.
Oh, you found it.
I've got 3 follower requests.
What's your handle?
at Matty_Gibson.
Who would have thought?
Change it.
Jesus, what
Change
was
it.
that? Was High Pitch Maddie taken?
Well, I wasn't high pitched
Oh, I
Matty
wouldn't
back
have thought
then.
so.
Whoa.
Right,
this is before,
okay.
this
Wow.
Twitter
Jesus.
exists before High Pitch Matty?
My last tweet was April 13th, 2012, where I
What? 2012?
Yeah, I retweeted Nat Garons about her looking like an Asian Miley Cyrus.
Yeah.
Well, it's her tweet. She says, just got told I look like an Asian Miley Cyrus for the 3rd time.
Yeah.
I will not stand for this unless I get to Ruta Hemsworth. I love Nat Garons. My last actual tweets were October 2011, where I said,
Holy shit.
where I said, where the hell did they find these shithouse auctioneers? Hashtag the Renovators. Do you guys remember that TV show?
Oh,
Oh,
jeez.
yeah,
No.
that was trending.
And this
It's on Gogglebox.
this one's a bit awkward given mates we have in common, but August 2011, liking Rhys for not singing pop shit. Dude has skills. Hashtag X Factor AU.
Oh, I thought you'd watching Rhys on karaoke night. In the VPT.
Once I get you up there.
I thought you were going to be when I was walking in Memphis.
There you go. And my
We're
first
not that drunk yet, mate.
my my first ever tweet, July 12th, 2011. Nav finally giving Fulton what he deserved. Hashtag Sea Patrol.
Oh, Jesus.
Like that is not trending.
It's not
That
even...
never trended.
See, you're the I don't get Twitter. You were twittering the hell out of Twitter. You were live tweeting and hashtagging during a program
Yeah.
that you're
you
watching.
and Maggie were the only ones tweeting about Sea Patrol.
Good old
Holy
Lisa McCune. That was
Yeah.
a good show. I still like that show.
Blue Heelers was alright.
Water rats.
No, Sea Patrol. It's all
Wouldn't
about
have
Sea
thought
Patrol,
so.
mate.
You know.
I like it how it's like
It's a
the
strange...
pinnacle of Australian Navy and it's a tugboat.
It's not. Destroyer.
Australia watched Jag and Sequest DSV, and we're like, we can do that. Neck minute, Sea Patrol.
It's a good show.
Exactly
Shut
the
up.
same
Yeah.
thing.
We send people to Christmas Island. That's what we do.
if
That's
they
it.
try and get off, we
Oi.
bomb them.
Shoot their boat.
Look, I'm not going to make Sea Patrol my line in the sand. There's so many other TV shows. So, I mean, if you guys want to give me shit, that's fine. Because, but.
Not paying at you, paying at the show.
The last 2 seasons were terrible.
Absolutely.
Did it go more than the last? What do you mean the last 2?
It had 5 seasons.
No way.
What? 5 seasons, mate.
Sea Patrol.
First season was a shit boat, but the second season they got a new boat and it kicked ass.
Well, I guess they should have started with the good boat.
Well, they obviously,
Good show.
So I was right, they had a tugboat.
You've actually, and apologies to our overseas listeners, but you've actually had to utter the words "the last 2 seasons of Sea Patrol."
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know when.
Look,
I didn't know
I
it went
know.
beyond
Sounds like
two.
a cartoon,
I
like
know-
Octonauts.
I know this is a phrase.
That was the
Like a
working.
Mice from Mars.
It was the working
I
title of
love
Octonauts
Like
until
a
they
Mice
realised there was a
from
shitty
Mars.
Australian TV show to carry the same name. They would want to tarnish the brand.
Link and I were talking about Bike and Mice from Mars the other day. We love it.
Good show.
Yeah, it's a good show.
I know I get a lot of shit for
Super
this,
Ted was good.
for mentioning this
Banana Man?
phrase a lot,
Yeah.
but I have them all on DVD.
Sea Patrol.
Of course you do.
Yes.
Wow.
First 3
Jesus.
seasons are brilliant.
Give me Roseanne any day.
Saskia
Let's not go too
Burmeister,
far.
Jay Ryan.
I
Overseas
like
Hashtag
Saskia.
reboot.
Saskia's
we
good.
got a tweet here from Stu Money from Scotland.
He says, "Why don't you guys talk more about Sea Patrol?"
At Stuart C 6661. Just found the Get Into Gate podcast, and it is the best thing I've found since Four Finger Pod, Simpsons, and Stargate Live is complete. Four Finger Pod is Simpsons podcast.
Oh, is it? Oh, check
Boys
it
from
out.
also from Brizzy, I believe.
Are you kidding?
I know they're Australian.
It's a Briz
I'm
Fest.
pretty sure. Yeah, I think they might be Brisbane.
Definitely have to check that out then.
They're killing it in the podcasting department in Brisbane.
Absolutely.
Boom.
Yeah.
Crossover.
Boom. We were talking about Holly Monnery. The other week, I put out the call, give us a subject to go on a rant on, because, we can go on a rant.
Yeah.
Holly says, Get Into Gate. Look, I'm only new to the podcast and not listening quite in order yet. But in the latest episode, you asked us for topics to rant on. How come no one just said the name Robert C. Cooper to Brendan?
Because no one wants to
Rant
hear Brendan
unlocked.
talk, really. We just try and keep Brendan as quiet as possible.
Yeah,
Good call.
doesn't stop him. But
Look, that's. I accept the challenge, but I do still feel like that's a slow burn.
Can you?
that's what I said. I said we need to keep that topic on a tight leash when he's around, because there's not enough time in a day.
Can you rant and be deadpan at the same time?
We'll find out. Look, give me a week. I'll mull over it and see what I can come up with.
Well, over it.
Maybe I don't know. I mean, I don't want to put any pressure here, but maybe Walter's written a diary about how he feels about Robert Cooper. I don't know. Like
Fourth wall.
Yeah, fourth wall
Who
stuff.
knows? I mean,
There's a guy that writes what I say.
I hope it's better than that. But
Duh.
That was just ad lib, mate. Sorry, I'm not a fucking theatre sports enthusiast.
I thought
Maybe if
that
I was fucking German.
I just said that because I thought it'd get a laugh, and everyone
Yeah.
was just like,
Peanuts and caramel.
That was good. It was a good joke.
Jeez.
No, it's good.
No, if you just work on that.
If you just workshop that a bit.
You just do. If you
Rhys?
get more jokes, and hopefully they're better than that. But
What about? If,
I'm so impressed with just how full our mailbag has gotten. Like
I know,
it's just,
yeah.
I just feel like everyone wants to just
like it was only 2 weeks ago we did.
make our bag swell.
Hairy Mailbag.
Every time people just wants to put something in our bag. So please, everyone, keep sending stuff through because we really appreciate it.
Yeah, sorry
and
if we
love-
miss stuff too because we only do it monthly. and-
We're so unorganized. We have to figure out. We're gonna have to figure out a better way to sort of organize to make sure that we do.
You're gonna hire a
PA.
We need to hire a Walter.
yeah.
If anyone would like an internship to just
Yeah.
organize a.
I'd like
just
some
a-
bunting.
Yeah,
So
just
if we could organise some bunting.
What?
Make sure it's
it's a season
red-
8 reference.
Right.
red, white, and blue, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
We need
but
blues.
yeah, if anyone would like an internship to just grab onto our hairy mailbag and
Give it a tug.
give it a
Sort
tug,
it out.
and just
There was no.
sort it out.
Like, there was.
You can't. It's not even.
It was just a straight tug. It was-
straight up. Hairy mailbag tug.
Yeah,
Tug the mailbag.
I mean, you got to tug the mailbag every now and then. Like you can't just
Got to give it a shake and
got to give it the attention it deserves.
organise it.
rearrange it.
You can't ignore it. You gotta, I love how Mitch is just sitting back, just
Yeah.
got nothing.
I'm
Mitch is
that slow
tired
today. I'm like, where can I go with this? There's got to be some kind of cupping reference, checking for foreign objects. It wasn't going anywhere. So if you want to contribute,
Every time you get in touch with us, it makes our hairy mailbag swell.
Tingle.
If you want to,
Ooh, yeah, I like
if
it.
you want to put that kind of wording on it,
Yeah.
Makes my hairy mailbag stand up on
It
it.
gives me a little notification, if you know what I mean.
Send us a
Gives me a tickle in my pocket.
Send us a word on getintogate@gmail.com. Find us on the socials, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Search Get Into Gate, a Stargate podcast. If you haven't already, and if you haven't, you're mad.
Well, and get on Reddit and stuff and talk about us.
Oh, you really you're trying to push that Reddit, aren't you?
Mate, there's a lot of people on Reddit.
What else?
I
What
don't
else?
get Reddit.
No, it's difficult because it's a slow burn. You can't just get on there and spam. You got to be on it, and you got to
Spam.
and you got to like other people's stuff. And you're like,
Oh, so you got
I'm not here to lie.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to contribute. That.
I'm just here to post my shit.
I want to be famous, but I don't want to do any work. How do I
I
go?
don't want to be famous. I just want to
Murder.
live comfortably doing not much.
So you want to be Kardashian famous?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
With Maddie's new
On the
segment,
next Stargate SG-1.
You'll notice how we spoke about the Michael Shanks voice as Thor. Now, in this particular sting, they haven't flanged his voice.
Oh, and done like
really?
Yeah, so
The
it's
Thor.
about the second or third line. It says, they are the enemy of the Asgard, so listen out for Shanks.
They haven't Asgardied up his voice.
Yeah.
Richard Dean Anderson stars on the next Stargate SG-1.
What are they? They are the enemy of the Asgard.
Thor's ship has been overrun by a bunch of nasty
Sounds like
technobugs.
cello. Technobug.
Technology goes on a rampage, destroying worlds
They have become a plague on our galaxy.
and annihilating everything in its path.
They plan to land the ship and infest Earth.
No, it's us or them.
Anybody who comes up is not getting down.
Sir, if you can't get off the ship...
Yeah, I know.
Put that in.
You are going to die.
On the next Stargate SG-1.
Well, and obviously the final SG-1, because whoever gets up isn't getting down, and Teal'c
Yeah.
said we're going to die. So there's no way they're getting out of this one.
Well, at least Shanksy will survive.
So Atlantis starts after this, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, next
week.
Next week.
Nice.
That's it. No?
Get ready. All right, that's episode 64 of Get Into Gate. Talking Crystal Skull. We will be back next week to talk Nemesis, episode 22, the season finale of season 3 of Stargate. Until then, you can check out all of our old podcasts. Just search Get Into Gate, a Stargate podcast, on all your favourite podcasting channels. If you are joining us for the first time, welcome, and you can find all of our old chats there. You can also find on the channel our Stargate Origins breakdown as
no,
well.
I mean, do that while he's talking. I mean, we're about to turn the
I'm eating
microphones
caramel
off.
pretzel Kit Kat.
Like, there's a button in front of you where you can turn your microphone
And
off.
like, Mitch
before
is
you do
about
that.
30 seconds away from finishing, so like he will turn the microphone
always
off.
is.
Bazinga!
Mind you, we're working in the studio in my radio station that I work at. You would be surprised by the amount of people that do stuff on mic that have no idea there's a button in front of them that they can just turn off.
Oh yeah, give it to me.
GetIntoGeek.com.